Hey, welcome to my channel, or welcome back, loyal viewers. I'm Kerry, the nosy housefrau, and today I'm sticking my nose in on the tea that is Jeffree Star's packaging, looking a lot like Loraque's packaging with Bloodlust versus their royal collection. There's a lot to unpack there, if you will. And we're back filming in the guest room, aka my new room, living my best pandemic life. And I hope you are too. So if you are brand new here, please do consider subscribing, and we'll do a lot more of this. Where else are we going to go? So if you're on Twitter, you may have noticed that tweets were going around on or around April 11th, suggesting vehemently that Jeffree Star had stolen his packaging for Bloodlust from Loraque with their royal collection from 2014. These tweets were so passionate that I must read them dramatic Twitter style. Hypocrite Jeffree Star stole Bloodlust from Loraque's 2014 holiday collection, The Royal. Jeffree Star has been quick to accuse other brands of stealing their ideas. However, it appears that his royalty-themed Bloodlust collection was in fact stolen from Loraque's 2014 holiday collection, The Royal. Bloodlust has the same unusual hexagonal box, decorative artwork, crown motif, and velour covering as The Royal. In his second makeup series with Star, Shane Dawson was shown in Jeffree's office looking through palettes for inspiration. One of these was Loraque's The Royal, proving Star had knowledge of the collection before he decided to rip it off. So among other questions, people have wondered why this is coming up now when the palette launched on February 21st and had a reveal sooner than that. I can tell you that this is not the first time that this comparison to Loraque has been made. In fact, it was made over 2 months ago on my timeline. Here's a tweet I posted on February 11th. That's how I saw it, but I also think it looks like the Loraque gift box I got one year. Disclaimer to viewers, not saying that's a ripoff, anyone can use that shape. That's just what it reminds me of. Okay, so it's definitely a likeness that I noticed right away as a fan of Loraque, as someone who is gifted the Loraque. Now, some of the things people have pointed out are the similarities between those shapes and the royal theme. Both of those things are really not uncommon in the beauty world, and this is a point that's been made before. I watched Dustin Dailey's video on this, which was the first one I think came out, and it was very good. I'm going to link it below. And in it, he has a statement from Jeffree saying that he never saw the box. At first, I had to think on that, because at first I was thinking, is he saying he never saw the box and we know he gets final approval? That's unacceptable. But what he was saying, it took me a while. My guys were working on it. And in fact, he was saying that he never saw the original Loraque box. Is that true? I think it's possible, because Jeffree employs a company called Impress, and what their job is to present him with these boxes. You probably saw some of that in the video. It's possible he saw it, it's possible he didn't. I don't know if, based on that statement that Dustin had, that Jeffree is claiming that he had no knowledge at all of the Loraque box. I don't know that I would buy that anyway, because it's something that was in the room with him. They were looking at different shapes. He claims to have his finger on the pulse of makeup. He's looking at all of the packaging. And certainly he noticed when Kylie's packaging looked like his, which I'll get to in a moment. I can't say it absolutely came from Jeffree, but that box, in my opinion, is definitely inspired by the royal collection. However, it's just a shape, and this shape does exist in the beauty community, as others have pointed out. It really does, and that was my initial feeling. That's why I tweeted it the way that I did. I don't see it as a ripoff. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you take something that is specific to a company, that is something that is indicative of that company, that people associate with that company, now you're getting into infringement area. And this is not just my feeling, this is the law. If it is something that can be associated with a company visually, then they have more of a claim to it. Nobody is going to claim a hexagon. And in fact, the differences between the fact that it's just outer packaging and that Loraque didn't even have a palette inside of theirs, I've asked myself if that matters, and I think it does. I think that that makes a big difference too. When it comes to the velour fuzziness of it, and that Loraque did have that kind of fuzziness inside of their box as well, that's just something that naturally goes with royalty. And Jeffree has always loved velvet. He's always loved the crown thing. He even has velvet curtains in his house. Ugh. So that's his aesthetic anyway. So at best I could say it's inspired. by a margin, I'm going to give that one to Jeffree. Points to Jeffree in terms of copyright infringement. Now, if you think he should address it on his channel, you are absolutely wrong. That is the last thing anyone would advise him to do. He has a massive audience. He has nothing to sound like he's apologizing for, because taking inspiration from a box that came out in 2014 is not ripping anything off, and even if it's inspired, you leave it alone. Nobody is going to think that anything is that new under the sun that you stole something so indicative of another brand's look. One of the chief complaints about Jeffree that people have said is that he's being a hypocrite and that in the past he's been petty and pointing out how much people are ripping him off. So let's take a look at a tweet about that. I gotta know one thing. With all the effing money he's made, why did Jeffree Star use the same packaging as Loroc's 2014 holiday collection? Invest and make something different, maybe? Now, this, of course, is in response to Jeffree Star's tweet. I gotta know one thing. They're using his exact wording in his complaint about Kylie Cosmetics using the liquid lipstick packaging. Now, before I tell you the reasons why I gave points to Jeffree on this one too, let me just disclaim, because I feel like this should be underscored. Jeffree Star doesn't keep those fairy lights on, and he's keeping all those Pomeranians to himself. If I felt he was wrong, I'd let you know. I'm sitting here talking about millionaires complaining about each other with their feuds that benefit them and not us. I would let you know if I thought he was wrong. I often feel like with Jeffree Star, I'm Charlie Brown and he's Lucy with the football. Every time I want to like him, he does something shitty. And this time it's going to be great. And then he pulls the football out for it. I'm done. So I'm just calling him as I sees him on this channel. And I have to tell you, when it comes to this packaging, the Kylie lipsticks that look like his are an item that is much more indicative of his brand. And that's what separates it from the Royal Box packaging, the Hexagon. A circle, a hexagon. And by the way, when Kylie was accused of stealing his highlighter, I thought that was dumb too. Embossment in the highlighter is nothing new. A pink circle is nothing new. That's not her stealing it. But his gripe, as I understand it, was the lipsticks. And I do think that looks a little bit more like his. The main difference being, if you look at the bottom, there's that bullet thing. Now, frankly, I think they just found another way to put less friggin' product in the package. That little circle at the bottom means less in there. And of course for him it's an aesthetic, but to me it's like, is it me, or are like packages just get more and more glass, less and less product, and you're paying the same amount for it? So if I felt he was being hypocritical, I would have a real issue with that. And I do understand where people are coming from with that, but this again is largely a lot of people just wanting to vilify him. You have to have a legitimate reason, and here you're comparing apples to a-holes, frankly. I mean, oranges. Okay, so now I want to talk about the guilty pleasure that is watching the reality show of Jeffree Star during this pandemic, because I finished Tiger King. I need another train wreck. His relationship with Nate, none of my business, so it's business as usual, has been very interesting to watch because of people's reactions. Nate never had to do a thing to have people just assume they knew who he was. He was a smiling guy in the background. He didn't do anything. We don't know the first thing about their relationship, and things aren't even what they appear a lot of the time. But what we do know was that Jeffree was talking about how the Aston Martin he gifted to Nate wasn't actually a gift. It was always in his name. Now, it makes sense to me that if Nate went back to live in Michigan, he probably doesn't want a car that's over $150,000 sitting in his driveway or his garage even. It probably belongs in the castle that Jeffree lives in, and we don't know how Nate felt about that. But it's kind of weird to say, you know, it was always in my name, it was always something I wanted, it was just something we said. It kind of promotes this idea that they didn't break up so much as Nate just got a demotion. See how my voice goes down when I'm gossiping? I'm turning into my mother. My mother used to look out the windows and go, that one there, he left with the motorcycle 2 o'clock in the morning, you could hear that thing. Mom, why are you whispering? They can't hear us. Shh, you don't know. I'm filming this. I'm putting it out there on the internet. Why am I talking lower, like between you and me? And by the way, speaking of what we're doing here, this vlog thing, I couldn't help but notice Jimmy Fallon, David Spade, Ellen, all these people, they now have the same job that I have. We all have the same job. They're funny. I mean, except they make money for it. And they are in their homes, so it's kind of like seeing a teacher out of school, isn't it? It's a little weird. It's like, oh, So let me know what you guys think about the Jeffree Star packaging allegations. Do you think that he has done anything wrong? Do you think it's a non-issue? And also, how do you feel about his claim about Kylie? Same thing. Do you think it's hypocritical, or do you, like me, think that there are some important distinctions to be made that just tip the scales in his favor in terms of morality? That's just where I stand on that issue. I'm really looking forward to interacting with all of you. It was so good for my soul to see all of your names in the comments and read your comments. So I look forward to that interaction as always. And until next time, Hausfrau out.